Hi, how you guys doing? I'll just start off telling you a little bit about myself. But as I tell you about my successes, I want to also tell you about the failures that I had to learn from to get where I am today. And in some areas, there's always room for failure. I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. Um, I started off in Catholic school till they kicked me out. Let me just start there and tell you what that was like. And my parents were really happy about me going to Catholic school. But I always wanted to go to public school. They let me go to public school for summer school, okay? So remember now, I'm in public school for summer school, and I'm Catholic school for regular school. How does somebody get kicked out of two schools like on the same day? Well, that was me. And I had that dad. I had that dad. Like, yeah, you know, that dad that he's not trying to hear none of that. I was that type of person that I had to express my opinion, and sometimes it didn't always go well. So here I am in public summer school expressing my opinion. So the teacher tells me something, I say something back. She says, okay, you're out. All right. So now, because I'm big and bad on the outside, but inside I'm dying, because inside I'm kind of wimpy, right? But outside I'm like, okay, no problem. I thought I could just go back to school on Monday and go sit in the class like nothing happened, right? So I get home, and my father says to me, he says, hey, we have a letter here from the Catholic school saying that I wasn't invited back. I was getting kicked out. In my head, now keep in mind, I think I'm like 14 at this point. In my head, I'm thinking to myself, wow, buddy, you think that's bad? Wait till I tell you, I just got kicked out of summer school. So I don't say anything. So Monday, I go back to school, and they had like assigned seating. My chair was gone. So I can't, looking back on this, I can't even believe I did that. I'm going in there, I'm looking for my seat. The teacher's like, no, I told you you were out. So then I had to, of course, leave and tell my parents what happened to me. And so I remember kind of feeling like at 14, here I am 14, I'm feeling kind of defeated, like, what's going to happen to me, you know, now? So there's a part of me going like, what's going to happen with me now? Oh, too bad, so sad. The other part is, I get to go to public school now. Listen, I go to public school. Remember, I'm in South Central LA. I go to public school. I think I'm big and bad in Catholic school. Let me tell you, I had some lessons I wasn't that big and bad when I got to public school. So anyway, so now I'm in 11th grade. There's this part of me that feels that I have to like prove myself in order to survive in public school. Because keep in mind, because I'm old, that's when this is how old I am. That's when the Crips first started. So my school is blowing up as it pertains to gang violence. So I got to try and fit in somehow so that I'm not becoming a target. So I try to blend in. So now I'm not doing my work. I'm just not doing well until the day the counselor told me that if I didn't get my act together, I wasn't graduating from high school. Well, I knew that was not going to go well at home. So I had to get myself together. So thank God, by 12th grade, I get myself together, and I go to college right after school. And I think I didn't really wake up until I was closer to 21. And then I understood the importance of school, blah, blah, blah. I started doing better. And so as a result, I taught school for a while. I left when I graduated from college. I taught elementary school. Then I became a cop, and I was LAPD officer for 30 years. While I was there, I got my doctorate. I worked a lot of jobs as a police officer, so I'll tell you a little bit about that. I worked a different jobs. So I worked patrol on the streets. I worked internal affairs. I worked undercover narcotics. I was the spokesperson for LAPD, worked doing press relations, and then I became a sergeant and worked Vice. So when I was working Vice, you know, and Vice deals with prostitution, strip clubs, anything that's alcohol beverage related. So liquor stores, regular clubs. So we do that kind of stuff, and it's undercover work. So we tootled around LA in regular clothing. When we were arresting people for the crime of prostitution, I really realized very quickly that there were people out there that weren't out there by choice. And back then, it's not that way now here, but back then we were arresting juveniles. So the youngest that we had arrested, I think, was 12. And so I realized, regardless of whether they were 12 or they were 22, that a lot of people, especially the juveniles, were not there by choice. And so services were needed. Interesting enough, the organization I now work for, that I now lead, I use them as a resource. So if there was a situation where I did not need to make an arrest, I would refer people to this organization. So when I retired, I was going to volunteer here, and they said they had an executive director spot open. So I became the executive director of this organization. So that's kind of where I am now. But let me tell you, this is where your past can kind of catch up with you. So this is hilarious. So someone was asking me to teach a class on human trafficking at a community college, and they needed my transcripts. So I said, I'll give them to you tomorrow. So I go home and I give them my transcripts for my undergraduate. While I look at my transcripts, look, I had some F's on there, some classes that I didn't quite pass. That was bad enough. So I was already kind of embarrassed. I mean, I graduated, but I was a little embarrassed because remember I told you I wasn't quite getting things till later on. So I send them, so I'm a little embarrassed, but I send them the thing because I know they're probably looking, thinking, wait a minute, you're a doctor, but you were like failing classes in undergrad? Listen, if that wasn't bad enough, why is it, because you know you have to scan it on a copy machine. Why did I leave those transcripts in the copy machine and somebody put them on my desk that next day? One of the people that work for me. Tell me I wasn't embarrassed. But even though I was embarrassed, the one thing that I had to say is that was me then, it's me now, it's me, it's who I am. It's nothing for me to be embarrassed about. You know what I mean? Like, okay. But what it is it's a lesson not only to me, to other people. You can fail. You could have people to tell you talk too much in class. I mean, I would have teachers say you talk too much in class. Oh, that's Stephany Powell. She's not going to amount to anything. You know how that goes. Or when I became a police officer, for officers to tell me I wasn't going to do well because I was a female and I was African American. If I were to internalize or take all of that in and really believe what they had to say about me, I never would have got any further, right? So I had this thing on my desk that I saw Oprah, I don't know, I was watching Oprah, and somebody had made this quote where it said, what people think about you ain't none of your business. Look, I have embodied that. What folks think about me ain't none of my business. I had to really embody that for me in order for me to move forward, right? So when I saw those F's, there was a part of me that was like, oh my God, you know, what are people going to think of me? They're going to probably think I'm an imposter. Am I a fake? And I'm thinking, no, but what it really shows is that in spite of that, I've become this. So in spite of the teachers telling me I wasn't going to amount to anything, I have a higher degree than most of those teachers had then or that have now. I'm a doctor. You know, when I think of the officers that told me I wasn't going to be able to finish my probation on my rookie, some of them, I outranked them. And it's not, and because I'm not a person, I don't brag, I'm not that type of person. I just am not. But I can't, what people think about me, I guess can't validate me, right? You just have to be myself, regardless of your past, regardless of those stumbling blocks that have come your way. So it was just in my heart to share this stuff with you because I just understand it. I just understand it. And I still, even now, when I walk into places and they don't expect me to be the ED, because I don't look like what people's expectation of an ED is. You know, my hair is dreaded. You know, I wore my hair natural in the police department. Oh, that became a problem. But I couldn't because it was my own authenticity. It was my own self. It was my own keeping it real. I needed to be real in order for, I had to be true to myself and be real in order for me to move forward. And so being real doesn't mean that you're doing wrong things. Being real is that you're doing the right thing for you and you're not hurting other people or you're not keeping people from doing the things that they need to do. So any questions? I just think about my personality. Like I like being all over the place. So when I was a police officer, for some reason, and this is the kind of person I am. I could be sitting going like, you know what? I think I want to be a medical doctor. So I'm kind of the type. I started looking into med school, like it, and it doesn't make sense to anybody else because you know people are looking at you going like, aren't you a little too old to be changing? So when I was working Vice, I decided I wanted to go get my doctorate because I always wanted to have a doctorate because I was looking at what am I going to do when I retire. So literally, when you're working Vice, you're working late at night. So I'd get off at 2 o'clock in the morning. It would be, and I'd have to start school at 8. So I would literally drive to school, sleep in the parking lot till it was time to go to class. When I get locked in on something, I get locked in. Look, you know, I'm so glad you asked that because yes, they have. And it's been good, not only for my organization, but for organizations as well in terms of them having a more victim-centered approach, right? So I literally, I teach other police departments about victims of human trafficking, how they should be treating them, why do they do the things that they do, why they need to help them, why is it they're calling them everything but a child of God, and they're not showing, you know, like all that stuff. There's a reason why that stuff is happening. And it has to do with a lot with what has happened to them through life, right? And that anger is not directed at them personally, it's just being angry, right? And don't address that anger as though it's personal. That's where you really need to dig in and try and help. So I go throughout the country teaching police departments about a victim-centered approach. If I was somebody from the outside talking to police departments, you know, they're looking like, oh, the bleeding heart. Oh, she doesn't know about the real world. But I'm able to go in there, ex-law enforcement, talking about all the reasons why they need to do the right things by people. And I am telling you, the reaction that I get from them is really a good reaction. Or they'll call me and say, hey, you know, so-and-so really doesn't trust us. Can you talk to her? Can you just talk to her and let her know that we're really on her side? So, look, you got me all hyped up because I get all excited about this stuff. So what I did when I first came to Journey Out, they didn't have a really good trusting relationship with the police department, only because they were like, okay, well, they're too close to the girls. Are they really going to be able, are they really wanting to support us, right? And so this is what I did. I knew what the gaps were between the police department and the nonprofit. They were supportive enough of me that whenever LAPD gets a victim of human trafficking, we are their service provider. And they let us be in the station when they're doing stings. And if we say to them, hey, you know what? I think this person needs more help than they need to be arrested, they will allow us to be able to give the help that they need and not make the arrest. So and that's why I get so excited about it, because I've been able to bridge two worlds that in some cases are like polar opposites, right? So thank you for asking that. And I'm telling you, if I tell them about a victim, or I give them advice on a victim, they take the advice and don't even question it. I get excited about that. Thank you for asking that. I really want you to take my conversation with you guys today, even if you don't have any questions. I know that there's probably things that you're thinking about as I'm talking. And what I really want you to take away is that I kid you not, and this has been my belief, and I think this is behind the things that I've done. You really can be anything that you want to be. If you can think it, you can be it. And even if there's barriers in the way, there's ways to get around those barriers, or maybe it just means that you're being led in another direction, right? Because sometimes barriers are in place because maybe that's not the direction that either God wants you to go into or the direction that you shouldn't be going. And so that's why that barrier is there, although we don't understand that when we're trying to go over that barrier. But it might be leading you into something that you're going to be even better at. But you really can be, as long as you're breathing and you get up every day and you're healthy, you can be whatever you want to be, and don't let nobody tell you can't do it because you're a woman. You can't do that because you're a minority. Can't do it because you're Black. You know what? When people tell me stuff like that, it's a lot of this, and that makes me want to show you all the reasons that I can do it. So I just really want to, I just want to send you guys off with that.